Welcome to another episode of Inside Rangers Football. I'm your host, Brant Freeman, joined by Rangers head coach Larry Hill. Smithson Valley out to a 1-0 start, a thrilling win over Reagan this past Saturday at the Alamo Dome, 14-13. Coach, quite the way to start the 2022 campaign.
Well, it was, to be in that kind of setting. We haven't, our current members have not played in the Alamo Dome, so to get to play in that setting with that kind of crowd as part of a triple header on television, kind of had a feel of a deep in the playoffs atmosphere, and so to get in that and then have to, unfortunately, play a real quality opponent and scratch and claw and find a way to win, great experience.
The big swing moment of the game came early in the fourth quarter. You go for it on fourth down in Reagan territory, but not all that deep. You don't get it. The next play, Reagan runs offensively. Gavin Woods forces a fumble. You recover. A few plays later, you're in the end zone and on top. Take us back to that sequence and what it meant in terms of turning the tide.
Well, we were in that awkward phase. Do we punt them deep or do we go for it? And there's always a lot of factors that go into making that kind of decision. How are you moving the ball? How are you not? How good are they on defense? How not good are they on defense? Well, they had a real good defense, but we felt like we didn't have that many more opportunities. We better go for it. And then on the flip side of that, we were playing very well defensively. So even though, and we didn't make the fourth down, as you said, and so even though we've given them relatively good field position, 40, 45-yard line, we had a lot of confidence in our defense, which was justified. As you said, one play later, we get the strip by Gavin, a recovery by David, and on we go.
So you look at the way that you move the ball on offense, and it's always important to establish playmakers as early as you can in the season. Looks like Freddie DuBose might be a playmaker for you. Made some big plays in the run game, had a few big catches. What impressed you about Freddie's play this past Saturday?
Well, just how well-rounded it was. He did. We missed on a couple deep ball opportunities with him, but took some short ones and turned them into big ones with the catch and run. And then as a runner, impacted the game on some end arounds and reverses and fly sweeps. And then, of course, in the kicking game, he had several big returns, and a couple of them were brought back by kicking game penalties. And then he blocked their extra point. We got him in on the block unit, so he's found a lot of ways to impact the game more than a typical wide receiver might do it.
Yeah, special teams certainly was a big storyline of the game this past Saturday, kind of working both ways. But getting back to the offense, Chase Senlick starting for your quarterback. Doug Lance got the majority of the carries and was able to grind out some big runs as you ran out the clock in the fourth quarter. Looking at Chase's start, looking at Doug in the backfield, what were your impressions with those two?
Well, I thought Chase and Rylan Walker also had a series in there at quarterback. Did a nice job of taking care of the ball and being efficient with the passing game. I think we were 13 for 20 passing, and didn't turn the ball over, didn't try to throw it into crowds, and knew when to go to second option. So I thought for the first game of the year, those guys made great decisions and made some good throws. And then, we're using the three-headed monster at tailback with Doug. Brad Soursby, our sophomore's got a little get up and go, and he didn't get loose for any big ones, but did a nice job of coming in and giving us a spark. And then David DeHoyos brings a third different kind of look there. And then I think you're giving the defense all kind of looks at tailback, and then I think the big thing we're getting out of that is whoever's in the game in the fourth quarter when we're trying to go win or try to run out the clock, keep the ball. They got fresh legs. Maybe the defense is a little worn down, and we got guys who are eager to go attack.
So a relatively low-scoring game, 14-13, but the Rangers made plays in all three phases. We've highlighted some of those: a blocked extra points, some big plays offensively from Freddie DuBose, and certainly defensively getting that massive turnover in the fourth quarter. So with that, let's take a look now at the first edition of this season's Plays of the Week.
Yeah, let's go take a look. Our first play of the week is an offensive play, and that's our first touchdown of the year. It starts with a action to the right, and then we're going to focus on our Z receiver, Freddie DuBose, who has the circle around him, as you can see. And as the play unfolds, we fake a handoff to the right. You can see our quarterback, Chase Senlick, faking to Doug Lance, drawing the defense to the right, and then we flip the ball to Freddie coming around on a reverse to the left. So draw the defense right, run left. Now we're going to pick up a couple of key blocks here. First, Braden Buffetus, one of our sidecar fullback, receiver guys, does a nice job blocking their outside linebacker. And then TJ Hunt on the safety right here. And then Freddie's able to hit that crease right between them, use his speed and get it in the end zone. Well executed play on lots of fronts, and got us off to a great start in the lead. Look at it from the rear, you get a chance to see it a little bit better. Again, as the snap comes in, we fake to the right, pitch to Freddie going left, and we kind of fool the cameraman for a minute, but then there's Braden's block on the outside linebacker, and then the safety block by TJ Hunt, and then Freddie's able to hit that crease and use his speed, get to the corner of the end zone and get us off to a great start. Next big play comes in the fourth quarter. As you know, if you're at the game, Reagan's winning 13-7 at this point. They just stopped us on first down, and the first play after the ball turning over on downs, we get two big plays by a couple of three-year starters, seniors. Gavin Woods at the bottom with the bottom arrow, and David DeHoyos at the top has an arrow on him as well. Make a couple of big plays. But before the play can get started, we got to get great play from one of our other seniors. Senior defensive end, McLean Garrett. This is a read play, and they're actually wanting to hand the ball off, and McLean tackles their running back and forces the quarterback to pull the ball out. So I can't understate how important that is. The quarterback keeping and the subsequent fumble never happen if McLean doesn't do his job. But he does, and now Gavin Woods, our linebacker, moves in on the quarterback, has him, and then as he throws him to the ground, he strips the ball. Ball comes out right there, and David DeHoyos is laying in the weeds, picks it up, runs it about 7-8 yards and gets us down inside the 30 and sets our offensive up with a very short field that we're able to capitalize on and go score. You see it from the bottom, you see from the back, you see the whole thing. Let's start with McLean again. Taking away the first threat. They want to hand the ball to 21. They can't. McLean has canceled that. So it forces him to pull it. You can see Gavin waiting on him. He's got him for no gain, but now he has the shrewdness to strip the ball as it comes out. You can see it's on the ground there, and David DeHoyos moving in, picks it up, big play, energizes the crowd, energizes our team, and gives us a chance to go down and score. We do. We score. We go up by 1 point, but Reagan, they don't have any quit in them. They come back, hit a long pass, get down there. We stop them. They've got a chance to regain the lead with the field goal. Freddie DeBose on the far left here has already blocked one of their extra points this game, and you can see number 5, their wingback with the circle around him. He's very conscious of Freddie coming off the edge. So when the ball's snapped, you can see that he throws both hands out, and he's trying to kind of block the inside man, but then have a hand out here for Freddie as well. And it's pretty biblical. A man can't serve two masters. You know, he has a hard time blocking them both, and the inside man, and you've heard his name before, is David DeHoyos. David is able then to slip under that block because of Freddie coming off the edge, occupying the blocker, and he blocks the kick. He gets a piece of it. The ball comes out. It goes beyond the line of scrimmage, but it's well short of the goal post, and of course the kick is blocked, and the threat is thwarted, and we go on to win the game. And those are our plays of the week.
Again, impressive for the Rangers to get some big plays in all three phases. Impressive win to open the season. And they have a big test coming up on the home opener this Friday as they host Harker Heights. Still to come at Inside Rangers Football, Coach Hill will visit with his nephew Glenn, with the offensive coordinator here for the Rangers, talking more about his role with this program, Rangers trivia, and a preview of the game against Harker Heights. All coming up. More Inside Rangers Football in a moment.
Hey, Principal Wall, how have you been?
Really good, except for this.
Well, we specialize in wart and mole removal and acne treatment and skin allergy testing and skin cancer screenings, but I've never seen anything like this before. Hey, Dr. Miller, come check this out.
What? Is it getting worse?
Blue coloring, raised, multiplying like crazy. Do you know what it is? I haven't got a clue.
This man has SV Rangeritis.
SV Rangeritis?
Yes, it's when you have so much school spirit, it just bursts through your pores. This may be the worst, the best I've ever seen.
How can I cure this?
Cure it, you spread it.
Welcome back to Inside Rangers Football, and now we're going to go to a new segment, a new feature for 2022, where we'll bring in a different coach from our staff each week and get to know them a little bit more than just a name on a program. And today we've got our offensive coordinator, Glenn Hill, who's with us. Glenn, what year is this for you here at Smithson Valley?
This is football season number 6.
Number 6,
Yes, sir.
came as a running back coach and has evolved through the years. Now he coaches our quarterbacks and is our offensive coordinator, as we mentioned earlier. And the name sounds familiar. You know, I've got a grandpa that was named Glenn Hill. I've got a dad named Glenn Hill. And I've got a brother named Glenn Hill. And
We're not very creative in the family.
yeah, our family just not real good at dreaming up names, so we just keep giving the same ones. But Glenn is my nephew, if you hadn't figured that out. And Coach, let's talk a little bit. Where were you born, raised, grow up? How'd you get here?
So football family, just, much like yourself, my dad was a coach. Grew up in the San Antonio area for the most part, made a little stint in the Houston area, kind of following his career around, and then I ultimately graduated from Churchill High School and went to Incarnate Word and UTSA. Stayed here in town for the most part.
Good. And then, as you said, going into year 6, but you had coached some prior to that. Where else have you been?
Yes, sir. I was at Brennan High School and Northside ISD and Brandeis prior to that.
Okay. So, as we know, a football family, and let's talk a little bit about what you do here on a daily basis. I mean, what does a quarterback coach do? I mean, we obviously have quarterbacks. You coach the quarterbacks. You played quarterback years ago. What goes on in a quarterback coach's world on a daily basis?
So much of it's just preparation for the guys and, the goal, and I think not just for the quarterback coach, but how can I get my guys to be comfortable and play fast and play confident come Friday night? Right.
And you coach those guys, of course, during the week, and as you said, evaluate your talent, I suppose. What goes into that? I mean, what are the kinds of things you look for so that you can set that quarterback up to be successful?
Right, really, as far as what I look for in a quarterback, we've had a bunch of different styles here, and there's not really one cookie-cutter mold that you have to be X, Y, or Z to play quarterback for this system. We'll find your strengths, and we're going to try to suit our offense to best fit that.
No doubt, and done a great job with that. And you're right, we've had them all. We've had all different kinds.
No doubt.
Our 2 guys this year aren't like last year. Of course, Jalen 2 years ago was coming from defense, and then
Right.
we've had what people might call pure quarterbacks. Guys played Division I football. So, but yeah, you're right. And you and all of our coaches do a great job of molding those guys. And let's talk just a little bit about the 2022 season. I mean, at the taping of this show, we're off to a 1-0 start. But what's special about our 2022 team?
This group is they're really connected. They're really together. I don't know if I've seen many teams, I haven't had as long of a career as you have, but in my short time, I haven't seen many teams that just get along and they seem to be genuine friends. And, I think that helps just not in the locker room, but out there on the field. They trust each other. They know they've got each other's back. I'm excited for this team. I think we've got a good chance to have a really fun year.
Well, I think we do too, and thanks for joining us today. And each week, as we've said, we'll have a different coach on and talk about his situation, how he got here, and what he means to the Ranger football program. But thank you for being here. That closes this segment, and now we're moving on to Rangers Trivia.
This week in Rangers Trivia, the win over Reagan this past Saturday marked the 30th season opener for Smithson Valley under head coach Larry Hill. Of those 30 season openers, how many have the Rangers won? Is the answer A, 19, B, 21, or C, 23? The answer is C, 23. That's good for a season opening winning percentage of .767, and the Rangers have now won 3 straight season openers, a streak that started back in 2020 with a win over Harker Heights, Smithson Valley's opponent this Friday at Ranger Stadium. So we go from Rangers Trivia now to a look ahead of the opponent coming up this Friday. Smithson Valley hosting Harker Heights out of Killeen. They too 1-0 after a win over Killeen Ellison this past week, 33-7. A team that won 9 games a year ago, went to the postseason, coming out of a very good district. Again, the win last week, pretty good offensively and defensively. So another call the new test for you early in the season.
Yeah, and a totally different type of test. They've been they're very athletic. Got guys that can score from anywhere on the field. Their running backs, I think, is a U of H commit. Their quarterback's also a returning starter, was the district newcomer of the year a year ago as a sophomore, and they've got some young receivers who are very dynamic. And I think a year ago in their 11-game season, they scored over 60 twice and scored over 55 other occasions. So, are able to put a bunch of points on the board. And, we're not really a track meet style team. We're 66 to 58. That's not really our personality. And so we've got to find a way to slow those guys down. But having said all that about their offense, as dynamic as it is, the most impressive part of it might be their defensive front. We said on the bus ride home the other day that we feel like that might be the best defensive front that we'll play all year, talking about Reagan. They were so big and strong up front. I'm afraid we lied. They're the best defensive front until next week. It's not going to take our fans long to just see the size and athleticism and the playmaking ability of their front four.
So Harker Heights played this past Thursday. You played Saturday. They will have had an extra day of rest. You'll have had two fewer than they would have had. Is there any impact with that?
I think there is, a couple of things. Now, the most obvious, obviously, they have 2 days more on us to rest and heal, which you get banged up a lot about early in the year. Have had all weekend to prep for us. Us, on the other hand, we get back from the dome mid to late afternoon. We watch the tape. We eat a hamburger. We get a scouting report on Harker Heights, and then we go to work on them Saturday night and on after church on Sunday. So our preparation is cut down. Our practice time is cut down. We're going to have to kind of go on what we call a short week. And so that's advantage Harker Heights. Not to mention the fact that was a pretty emotional game the other day. It was in a big-time setting.
Yep.
It was a very gut-wrenching, down-to-the-wire game that we won. And, we've got to quickly get back on track and realize that an equally or maybe more dynamic team coming at us this Friday who's not coming off of all that. So advantage Harker Heights on that. We're going to have to find a way to flip it.
You mentioned that in their win over Ellison this past week, they ran the football very well. A lot of talent in the backfield. As a team, they ran for more than 250 yards this past Thursday.
Yeah.
And you did a good job outside of one explosive play against Reagan in limiting the run game for the Rattlers from this past Saturday. What does the approach have to be to stopping the run against this opponent this week?
Well, I think anytime you play someone, you've got to identify what do you think they do best, whether it's throw it, run it, and try to take that away and force them to do something that, not that they're not good at it, but that's not what they do best. And they throw the ball extremely well, but there's no question they're going to turn around and give that ball that running back as any good coach would. And we've got to try to find a way to win on first down, get them behind the chains, and get them in second and third and longs, and limit the opportunities for him for them to simply turn and hand the ball to him. Now they do a good job of throwing it to him. Sometimes they'll put him at receiver and throw it to him. There are other times, not the other night, but in the past, where they've put him at quarterback and just direct snap wildcat to him. They're going to find a way to get him the ball. So I don't know that we can take him out of the game. We're just going to have to limit his explosive plays and not let him get the 70-yard all-in-one play run.
If you're talking to a high school coaching staff, college, NFL, maybe even Pee Wee flag football head coach, they'll tell you that you're going to see the most improvement from your team from week 1 to week 2. In what areas do you feel you need to see the most improvement going into the game this Friday?
Well, we've got to eliminate some kicking game penalties. I know we made some big plays in the kicking game then, and you could say that it helped win us the game. But we also made some mistakes. We blew a blocking assignment on punt protection. They get a punt block for a touchdown. And then that was the obvious one. But then we had 3 big returns on punt returns and kickoff returns. We return a punt down to the 3-yard line and it comes back. We run 2 kickoffs back almost to midfield and they come back because the speed of the game is different than practice, and all of a sudden you're trying to block a guy in space and he's past you and you can't resist the temptation to shove in the back. So, you're right. I hope the biggest improvement is week 1 to 2, but Reagan had a lot to do with that.
Sure.
And unfortunately, that axiom is also true for the opponent. Their biggest improvement from game 1 to game 2. So, but we've got some areas we've got to get better on. I want to continue to take care of the ball. I want to continue to limit the run. But we've got to eliminate mistakes and create a few more explosive plays offensively. We had 5. We normally like to get 8 or more. So we need to ramp it up there a bit as well.
Coach, you've had Harker Heights here before, a couple of years ago, in fact. It was a 45-27 win then, I believe, to open the season. What do you recall about that game?
Well, it was the COVID year, the strange 2020 year. We actually didn't get to play that game till, the middle of September or whatever. And it was the season opener for both teams. Neither team had had a spring training or anything like that. So it was... it was strange. We had 50% crowd capacity, not our usual full house, and they had a very young team, and we were fortunate. We made a couple of big plays early on and just got a couple of touchdowns up on them, and then it was back and forth the rest of the night. But I remember we drove the ball pretty well, made some nice drives, finished with touchdowns, and then 2 or 3 times they were able to answer in one play. Jump ball with a great receiver, out jump somebody and go for the distance, and we can't let that happen again.
Well, Coach, best of luck this Friday as you take them on at Ranger Stadium.
Okay, well, thank you, Brant.
Again, it is Smithson Valley versus Harker Heights. A game we'll have for you on the Rangers Network. Kickoff is at 7 o'clock. For head coach Larry Hill, I'm Brant Freeman. You've been watching Inside Rangers Football, and we'll see you next time.